We begin with the gunmen attack on a mosque in Katsina during the week, where several worshippers were shot dead by terrorists in the state. And in the wake of the tragedy, the acting governor of Katsina State, Farouk Lawal Jobe, has called on the federal government to urgently provide comprehensive security support to protect the people in the state from escalating attacks. And the acting governor emphasized the need for immediate presidential action to end the persistent threats facing innocent citizens. Survivors of the deadly attack by bandits say they recovered over 50 bodies in nearby bushes, even as they called on both the federal and Katsina state governments to intervene to save them from further assaults. And the attack has received nationwide condemnation, including from the international community. Katsina police spokesperson Abubakar Aliyu says the attackers were intercepted by authorities and that the measures successfully prevented a planned assault on 2 other villages, but not after many people had been killed. Well, joining us now to take a look at the wave of fresh terror attacks in the northwest of the country is a retired security and intelligence expert who is now in the academia, Dr. Sirajo Yakubu. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me here in the studio today.
Yeah, now Dr. Sirajo is currently a senior lecturer in law and the head of Department of Public and International Law at the University of Nigeria here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Welcome to the program once more.
Thank you very much.
All right, so what's been your first reaction to this wave of deadly attacks in Katsina State, which happens to be the home state of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who's now late, and people are wondering what exactly would lead to these huge killings without any security presence?
Well, actually, like every other person, I was saddened on hearing the news that these bandits have attacked innocent people praying in the mosques at dawn. And more so because it is my own state as well. You know, we have to sympathize with people whenever these kind of things happened. But like I said, these people of Ngwomantau, actually they are brave people, and we have to stand by them, by those who are, who have survived the attack. I got to understand that from the people around that what led to the attack was actually the villagers intercepted bandits some days before, when they attacked a village called Ruanseng, where they abducted some women. And on getting the information, because the bandits had must pass through the area, they lay ambush on them and killed some of them and set free the captives. So, and because of that, they came back. So you can see the bravery of the people. However, they were caught unawares. And one thing is that, again, I must sympathize with the state government, commiserate with the governor and the good people of Katsina State, because I know that he's doing his own best to ensure the safety of the people in the state. Let me give you the chronology of his activities in terms of security. I know right from the period when he was campaigning for the governorship election in the state, he was so brave and courageous to pass through a road that was closed before, from a village called Kukarsam to Saskia to Dusama. It was closed before. I understand that there was a time when President Muhammadu Buhari wanted to fly that road, but the security agencies prevented him from doing so. But he led his campaign team and successfully passed through that road. And even on that day, there was at the village of Umada was abducted, but still without any security arrangement, without anything. He stopped by at Saskia, which is like a valley town surrounded by rocky hills, and he came out of his own vehicle, addressed the people from there, and after the convoy left. But while the convoy was leaving, because I witnessed that myself, I was with the convoy at that time. While the convoy was leaving, there was some attacks And when he realized that, when the governor realized that there was an attack, he came out of his own vehicle, stopped and ensured that every person on that campaign trail passed before he entered his vehicle and also took off. And immediately he was sworn in as the governor of Katsina State. The first things he started to do was to establish a committee called a law reform committee, which I was also a member. And one of the bills that we were asked to draft is to draft a bill for what is called Katsina State Community Watch Corps, which is like the state policing outfit, all for him to make sure that normalcy is restored in the state.
But in spite of this vigilante group that was put in place, the Katsina State security outfit, we've seen these attacks happening. And from the information I gathered, what really happened is that some of these vigilantes normally will do a dusk to dawn patrol and all of that. So it was while they had relaxed in the morning and they had gone to pray that these attacks happened. And so one would wonder what exactly led to the security backup not being available, because other reports we got is that there's no police presence there, there's no military presence, and that these communities are almost left to themselves.
Yeah, thank you. The bandits are also as intelligent as our security are, because they always monitor and they pay for intelligence, because they have informants. They always attack when people are vulnerable. When they attack when least expected. About the security presence, I'm not aware of that, but with regard to the vigilante, the state community watch corps, their number is not enough to patrol everywhere in the state, and I think in each local government there is a number of them, and the Malampashi local government is also a local government that is quite a bit large for the number of the corps to actually monitor successfully. So I don't think it is a lapse from the community watch corps or a lapse from the security agencies. But as we always know that your attacker will always find a suitable time for him or her to attack you. Yeah, but that said, yes, of course.
Persons killed. I mean,
yes, that said.
That's why there's been this outrage that, I mean, that it could have been prevented in one way or the other. The attacks could either have been, intercepted, or people wouldn't have, been killed to this extent. Is it that, there's a total security failure in that place? Because a whole lot of questions are being asked by Nigerians, because these villagers are lamenting. They are saying that there's no near presence of any form of security outfit at all.
I would not say no to what you have said, but I would not say total collapse, because I'm not sure of that. But like you rightly said, I know there's a military camp in Malampashi, which is maybe about 15-20 minutes, I don't know. But I know the location of the village is off-road. After you pass Maraba, Kankara, Karfi, then you take right, you go to the village. I am familiar with the train a bit. It is something that the military would have probably responded within 15-20 minutes if they get the alert, and so also the police from Maraba, Kankara, from Malampashi, and even from nearby outposts. But whether they got the information that an attack was being carried out is what I don't really know, and what we need to inquire. If there is, assuming that Nigeria is a country whereby commission of inquiries are instituted whenever there is this kind of attacks, then the truth will be uncovered. But for now, I don't want to jump to the conclusion that the security agencies deserted them completely.
Well, that's what the villagers are saying, and some of them are saying that they have had to in the past even get into peace deals with some of these bandits to protect themselves, because they are not sure that either the federal or state security agencies could actually be helpful to them. But let's talk about some of these peace deals, because some of the state governors have also embarked on that within the Northwest. It looks like the peace deals with some of these bandit leaders have actually failed.
Yes. And I think we also must commend, even the thinking of the people and the government that, look, no conflict can end with a bullet. It must be, usually conflicts ended through peace talks. While fighting is ongoing, then the other thing is negotiation going on. I think in this regard we must learn from history, and that's what seems that in Nigeria we are relegating history right now. We think that by telling people history, we just have to mention the Civil War, and that's all about the history of Nigeria. No. History is very, very important in human development, because we have had this crisis even in Nigeria here, and it has been resolved. Let's take, for example, the Niger Delta crisis. How was it resolved? We have people around who participated in that. We have even the president who is alive when that deal was broken.
Yes,
yes.
late Umar Musa.
Yes, and then during the reign of the former president Jonathan. Then we have had crises like communal crisis, which now have become history, like Ife Modakiki. Then when you look at the history across the world, take for example United Kingdom. It suffered from this banditry, especially because it's a route. Being an island as a colonial power, it has vast interest in international trade, and banditry threatened the trade at a particular time. So we need to understudy how United Kingdom, and even at that time actually United Kingdom was not only patrolling its waters, it patrols even its colonies, and it attacks what do you call it, pirates, because their pirates are also bandits, out to areas in around India and China, Singapore and the Caribbean, just to make sure that ships can pass easily. So we have to learn from that also. How did the United Kingdom overcome that even worldwide? We have to also look at
so what exactly India. Are you suggesting? I mean, the federal government should sit down with these terrorists, or we should continue with the
no, we must
campaign,
continue. We must continue with the campaign, but the government, especially the federal government and security agencies, must get it right. And for them to get it right, they must learn from history, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
because there's combination. There is actually, if you okay, let me expatiate. When you look at how United Kingdom actually dealt with piracy at that time, was multifaceted approach, from the legal reform to enforcement to pardon to developmental projects to empowering people to lift them out of poverty, and so on and so forth. So this is exactly what I mean. Of course, we must continue to fight criminality, but that should not close the door of pardon.
All right.
And at the moment, nobody is talking about that, because if you look at the Fulanis, who are majorly, the bandits, they look at history. What had happened to them before? What led to them carrying arms against people that they're actually living with? That's exactly what I'm saying.
And you are from Katsina State. I mean, there's been this rivalry between Hausa farmers and the Fulani herders and all of that, with all sorts of justice and injustice.
Exactly.
And some of the Fulani people had said previously that when they are taken to court after their cattle is rustled and all of that, they don't get justice, and as a result of that, they got into this. Talk to us about this specific area, Malum Fashi. Is that what is happening within that axis? And then this has been going on over the years. What needs to be done differently? Is it a failure of intelligence also from the intelligence agencies?
You see, if I could recall, and that's why I'm emphasizing on history. When I was in secondary school, actually, I know, or shortly after I finished secondary school, an incident happened where nomads crossing, slaughtered or killed, shot and killed a district head of Merwa, which is also one of the hotspots at this moment. Actually, it is this probably the farmers-herders conflict that have graduated to this level. And herders-farmers conflict was actually an age-long crisis, but previously it was managed that it has not escalated to this stage. What has led to its escalation to the stage it is now of banditry, I don't really know, but I know that across northern Nigeria and even some part of the country there have been this conflict, but this one is a unique one actually, because at that time herders don't take people hostage and the farmers don't take herders hostage. It is true that there are a lot of injustices that has happened before, especially meted on the herders, and like they said, is one of the problem, and the people know, and that's why I'm saying we look back at history, that will help us in actually solving this problem. There must be give and take. For example, despite the fact that President Jonathan's house was bombed by the militants when he was the vice president, that did not prevent him from having a large heart to say, no, something has happened, because he championed that. Something has happened. Let us resolve this crisis of Niger Delta using other techniques other than just.
Yeah, but we've seen the federal government also
fighting.
granting amnesty to some of these bandits, rehabilitating some of them. But despite that, this continues. So what exactly is at the heart of this? And for them to go into a mosque in the early hours of the morning and kill more than 50 persons, what sort of message do you think that they were trying to send? And like I insisted in my question earlier on, shouldn't this be seen as a failure of intelligence on the part of intelligence agencies too?
History has shown actually that even with the United Kingdom, there are some pirates who are pardoned, trying to be reintegrated, but they went back to business as usual, and then they are got and killed. So there's something, and especially when you are dealing with people who are illiterate, mostly illiterate, and they operate in cells. So the fact that you strike a deal with one cell does not mean that you strike with all. The fact that this village has struck a deal with bandits, they may likely attack another village. Why? Because of the nature largely because of them being uneducated people. But that should not stop the federal government from negotiating pardon and them enforcing the pardon, because the pardon is what England did or United Kingdom did was that when they pardon, they enforce pardon. They know how they did it. The security agencies know better how to enforce pardon, because you don't say, I pardon you, leave you with your gun, and then you go and start attacking other people again. Then on the failure of intelligence, because you have been asking me this question, I'm not sure if there's failure of intelligence as people would say, because I know when I was in the service, I know especially the DSS is up to the task, and I know also the intelligence outfits of other security agencies, they're also doing their bit. But intelligence is very, very expensive. Getting it requires money, so funding it is needed. And then sometimes you get a double agent who is working with the bandit, and they're working with you and telling you and just giving you false information. And then I think also communities must also come to realize that they also have a duty not only to take arms against these bandits, but also provide intelligence and then abstain from being informants to the bandits, because as it is now, it appears that the bandits also are on top on this game of intelligence. They know when to strike. They know when, because even if we deploy, unless we divide Nigerian population into two, security agencies, they don't have the capacity or they don't have the number to man every place. So I don't want to attribute this to intelligence failure, because because even you can see that recently the security agencies were able, through intelligence, nab the Ansaru, yes, and was out firing a bullet, and that is intelligence for you.
Success.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the Chief of Defense Staff calling on communities to actually seek a way of ensuring self-defense, because the military can't be everywhere. I mean, he had to clarify his statement by saying that, look, they shouldn't carry up arms, but people should train themselves in other ways and all of that. We have seen this previously being said by other, heads of security agencies in one way or the other. What should Nigerians be doing at this moment in terms of, self-defense? Because these people are coming with bombs, with guns and all of that. So how do you ask communities to prepare for self-defense in the midst of people who are coming with such huge armaments?
This is a legal issue, asking people, and I think that's why probably the Chief of Defense Staff has to track his steps, even if he has said that. Because he knows better that there is what we call prohibited firearms. Nobody is allowed by law to bear muzzle-loading guns. I think rifles, pistols, and so on. It is illegal, and that the only weapon that private people can have license to have is these pump actions and so on, and they cannot match the power of AK-47. Unfortunately, criminals are having field day. They have the arms. The law applies to them, but unfortunately, because they're not being apprehended and then brought to court, there's no enforcement on that side. One thing I think Nigeria should do as a country, actually temporarily we can legalize people having those prohibited firearms. So they should be taken off from the prohibited list. So that if I buy AK-47 and I'm seen with it, police will not harass me. As it is now, you who are trying to defend yourself, if police will find you with a AK-47, they'll go after you, but they will not be able to go after them.
But the fear also is that people may use it from robbery. And
but the issue that I agree, but in most cases now, you don't even hear about armed robbery now. It is kidnapping everywhere in Nigeria, and there's no harm in people. And that's one of the debate in the United States, that it allows people to be armed, because it used to have this kind of issues, and without this kind of arrangement, people will be defenseless. Again, I think the whole security architecture of Nigeria has to be rejected. I think we have. And
what do you mean by that?
Very quickly, that we should learn again. I would say learn from history. I'm today behaving like a teacher. Let's visit countries like Niger Republic, all these francophone. Niger Republic, its own security arrangement is superb. We used to have this before, but unfortunately now we are having serious issues. Nobody will dispute that we have porous borders. By what we are taught, security should be concentric, informed, meaning that give priority to your borders. If you look at the United Kingdom, they give priority to their borders. They secure the borders. You don't come through with arms. And then, as you move down into the nation, then you also put measures like all these roadblocks and so on and this. Yes, profiling, roadblocks, people don't move, and then now with technology surveillance, adopt that. And again, you see, but what is happening now is that the security is concentrated around few individuals in the country. It's one of the things that's depleting the number of the police. Then also enhance the capacity of the police. I understand that we don't have time. Give them training, equipment for them, because essentially is the failure of policing that led to all this.
All right.
Yes.
Very quickly before I let you go, the Katsina State acting governor is calling
Yes.
on the federal government to step up action. And for it, I mean, as Katsina State government, I mean, what advice will you give to it in this peculiar situation, since they have a state security outfit?
Yes, I think what they have done is good because, I know, principally, the role of ensuring security of citizens lies with the federal government. It's a constitutional duty, it's not the state. But you can see that state like Katsina and other states have actually taken this fight at their own.
The constitution says they are the chief security officer of their state.
Yes, it's chief security officer, but which going to command troops? They don't even have the troops. Because even this vigilante, I mean the so-called what they can bear is they don't bear the prohibited firearms, so they cannot match the bandits. Actually, the state government, we must understand that the state governments are coming in to complement the effort of the federal government, and that should be commendable. I commend the deputy governor or the acting governor at the moment for him appealing to the federal government to come to the aid of the state. And I want to sorry, a few seconds. I want to call on all Nigerians, not only the federal government, but all Nigerians and the federal government itself to support the community. They get the government at the moment with whatever they can, financially, things to defend themselves and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and you actually forgot to answer that question I'd asked. I mean, what were the bandits? What sort of message were they trying to send by killing people inside a mosque?
They are trying to, I think, frighten people, and these people show that they are ruthless, and you know, they are ungodly because somebody is worshiping God, and you yourself claiming to be a Muslim, killing somebody who is worshiping God, same religion. I think they are portraying themselves as ungodly, and they are trying to instill fears in the mind of our people, and even ignite religious crisis.
All right. Yeah, yes. Because I know that Malum Fashidi, I mean, it's a mix of both Muslims and Christians and all of that. But we must thank you so much, Dr. Suraji Yakubu is the senior lecturer and the head of Department of the Public and International Law at the Nile University of Nigeria here in Abuja, and of course is a retired security personnel too. Must thank you so much for your immense wealth of knowledge, and thank you. We just hope that the right thing is done for members of these communities, because they actually feel neglected, and they're calling on the Katsina State and the federal government to actually reach out to them.